Sorry I'm a few minutes late. I was continuing the fight that Clayton White and I had yesterday. I didn't whip his butt enough yesterday, so I wanted to finish it before I walked in here. I told y'all Saturday after the game, social media is going to be the end of us all. There's another example. Are y'all freaking kidding me? And you guys believed it because y'all were texting coaches and staff members yesterday to ask if this was true. Sent it to my own wife, and a screenshot that I had Jessica Jackson send me of this rumor, and her response was, "Did y'all?" And just like I told our players, put the phone down, Emily, and everyone else. I know she's listening. I love you, babe. Having said that, this is our Salute the Troops game. Excited for that. What a way to honor our military. So grateful for them and the freedoms they provide for us, the sacrifices they make. It's always one of my favorite games, being able to look up in the stands and see them. So as we told our team this morning, we need to go put on a good performance for those men and women and play well in front of them. We're going to do Senior Day this week, so we should be honoring our seniors at around 3:50 p.m. Kickoff's what, 4:15? 4:15, so at 3:50 is when we'll honor those seniors, and would please ask our fans to be in your seats early and give those guys the recognition and honor that they deserve. There's some special young men in that group that have given a lot to Gamecock football. Some guys that were here before I even got hired as the head coach that have now been here for 5 seasons with me alone, plus one with Coach Muschamp. So want to honor those guys. They've given so much to the University of South Carolina. They love being Gamecocks, and I would really hope that our fans would be in their seats early to show appreciation for those seniors that'll be participating on Saturday. And then we need to go play well against a really good Coastal team.
All right, welcome to Sports Extra here on WLTX Plus. Reggie Anderson here with you. Just 2 games left in the regular season for Carolina. You know by now the Gamecocks were dealt another gut punch, but Saturday's game at Texas A&M really could have been the most distressing and depressing of all after seeing a 30-3 halftime lead evaporate. Here is the aforementioned head coach Shane Beamer. You just heard from him. He talks about bouncing back from an extremely bitter, disappointing season, and he made a bold statement about what he expects out of his team in 2026 in terms of being on the national stage.
Like always, and I know people don't want to hear it, and I really don't care, we went out on Sunday night and we had an awesome practice. And our guys responded just like I knew that we would respond, because as we talked about as a team in our team meeting on Sunday, our foundation is really strong. Our foundation is really powerful. Our culture is really strong. Our culture is really powerful. And that has been on display week in, week out, because if you don't have that, we're not in the competitive games like we've been in throughout the season. And I get it. I'm not in the moral victories. I'm not in the, having the how hard we play. We're in the winning football games, and we haven't done it. I fully understand that. But I do know next year at this time, we're going to be sitting here next year on this Tuesday night watching the playoff rankings to see where we are in the rankings show, and we're going to be firmly in the mix for a college football playoff berth next year at this time. And we're all sick about this feeling, but we're not going to go through this thing again, and we're going to go finish this season out the right way, send these guys out the right way, and then the minute that thing hits zero on the clock after the Thanksgiving Day game or Thanksgiving weekend game, we're full speed ahead on 2026.
Well, Spring Valley grad DQ Smith will be a part of Senior Day ceremonies prior to kickoff with Coastal Carolina. His story is one of development, as he was an outstanding high school quarterback for the Vikings of Spring Valley. He had offers to play that position at the next level, most notably Georgia Southern, but the Gamecocks not only flipped him and kept him home, but he was moved to the other side of the ball, a defensive back, and he has developed into quite the solid contributor in the secondary. The senior season, obviously, for the rest of the team, has not turned out like he had expected, but he wants to leave something for the younger players, and that is advice on how to handle adversity, which the Gamecocks have experienced in droves this season.
It's definitely tough. Not the season that none of us wanted in the building. I definitely had higher expectations, but we still have 2 games left. We can finish this year off strong. Like Coach said, we're playing for a state championship now. So just finishing off these guys, finishing off the next 2 games, we can really finish on a strong note.
Well, as the Gamecocks gear up for Coastal Carolina, Mike Furry gearing up for his second game as primary play caller His debut at College Station featured a magical first half before Texas A&M came storming back in the second half. Now for Furry, he jumped at this opportunity to be the primary play caller, something he did in college at Limestone. Of course, he's a former NFL receiver, and he's also coached in the league, so he's got a lot of experience. And he's got 3 games, now 2, to show the head coach what he can do in terms of being a potential offensive coordinator. Perhaps he might give Shane Beamer something to think about when the head man is trying to figure out who that next OC should be.
Well, you guys know me well enough. I've been around this business a long time as a player and as a coach now. That my job is what I do on a daily basis right now. My job right now is to make sure that I get our guys best prepared for this weekend and to try to put them in the best position to have fun and go out and coach Sean and I and Black and all these other guys on this offensive staff to go out every day and try to make improvements and try to get these guys to continue to develop. Like, that's our job, right? It's not about the future. It's not about what's next week. It's not about what's down the road. But I was excited, when Coach called me in his office and said he had made a change and wanted me to call the plays and wanted to know if I was okay with that, and which I responded yes. I mean, I was definitely up for that task and felt like I could help the guys out and help him out, which is obviously all why we're here, is to help him out and help this program win. And we've all fell in love with South Carolina to help this school out. But totally excited. It's a big task, trying to get this thing flipped around and in all different areas and trying to find the best players to put on the field.
Now let's check in on the Chanticleers from the Sun Belt. Coastal Carolina coming to Columbia without their starting quarterback. He's out due to an apparent knee injury. The Chants are already bowl eligible, but they will be a more than 3-touchdown underdog to the Gamecocks. Their head coach is Tim Beck, who came to Conway after a stop in Raleigh as offensive coordinator, so he knows what Power 4 football is all about, and he gives this assessment of the Gamecocks as he prepares to lead his Chanticleers to Columbia.
And they've been in every ball game that they've played in. And you guys know as well as I do, the A&M, the Alabama, I mean, they're games they could have, should have won, and way different scenarios. So it's a good football team, and it's going to be a tremendous challenge for our guys to how are we going to handle a venue like that? How are we going to handle the speed of the game like that? And it's a much faster football team than we've probably seen. So a bigger football team, right? But at the end of the day, it comes down to blocking. It comes down to tackling, throwing, catching. Don't turn the ball over, right? We can't beat ourselves. We can't help them in any way, shape, or form. We have to be able to go up there and play a complete ball game in all 3 areas of the game. We got to be sound. We got to make them earn their points. We can't give them points. You got to tackle well. I mean, everything you could think about trying to play like almost the perfect game, we got to be able to play that.
Well, Clemson also has Senior Day Saturday as the Tigers will be facing Furman, final home game of the season. Adam Randall has had the eventful senior season. He came to Clemson as a highly touted wide receiver prospect from Myrtle Beach, but he wanted more playing time. It looked like he was headed to the transfer portal after last season, but that was before he had a conversation with head coach Dabo Swinney, and they talked about him moving to running back. He has ended up leading the Tigers in rushing, earning the lion's share of the carries. Of course, this all came about after he had that mammoth kickoff return against SMU in the ACC championship game, and now Adam Randall got one more game at home as running back for the Tigers.
Adam and I sat down, the day after the ACC championship game because he was going to go in the portal. Because, and he's a great kid. He loves Clemson. He's graduating. He's going to be a graduate and have his degree. And he's like, I just want to go play. And I said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we give the spring, and I want to move you to running back. What do you think about that? And he kind of looked at me, and I asked him, what do you do best? He said, run with the ball. I said, well, exactly. So let's try the spring. I said, and if it doesn't go like I think it's going to go and we don't see what I think I'm going to see, I'll help you get somewhere in May. We shook on it, hugged it up, said, all right, let's go get ready for Texas.
I didn't want to leave, and but everybody wants to play. I'm just glad that I'm still here and having the opportunity to run down the hill one last time and do something that, you never really dreamed of being a senior at Clemson and, having a lot of ups and down moments. It's just really been a blessing. So I just want to take it all in this Saturday and, just make the most of it, and just kind of go out on top, just win out and be the best version of ourselves that we can this year.
Yeah, the Tigers are already bowl eligible, or one win away from becoming bowl eligible. They can get that if they can get a win over Furman on Saturday. They are heavy favorites to do just that. And, of course, they face the Gamecocks next week. So you've got Senior Day for the Gamecocks, Senior Day for Clemson. By the way, it's interesting Clemson is playing Furman because a number of staffers on that Clemson, if they're in Clemson, they have ties to Furman, including their longtime strength and conditioning coach, Joey Batson, who is retiring at the end of this season. He has spent 29 years up there in the upstate. He was clearly the best hire Tommy West made back in 95, 96, I think it was. And Joey's a former strength coach at Furman, former assistant strength coach here at South Carolina, here in Columbia. So more than almost 30 years in the business, and Joey Batson will be retiring. So a lot of festivities, a lot of celebrations going on, not only in Clemson, but obviously in Columbia as well, as both teams will be having Senior Day. And, of course, the Gamecocks still have that final home game next week against the arch-rival Tigers. All right, stay with us. More Sports Extra coming up right now after this break here on WLTX Plus. All right, back here on Sports Extra on WLTX Plus. Earlier this week, we honored another outstanding student athlete. This week, our News 19 Player of the Week program took us to River Bluff High School, where a member of the Gator volleyball team very nearly helped that program make history on the court. She's the all-time leader in kills for the River Bluff volleyball program, a North-South All-Star selection. She helped the Gators advance to the 5A Division I State Championship Finals, where they lost a hard-fought 5-set match to powerhouse Dorman.
After leaving the end of the season, I'm very fulfilled. I think all of my goals were accomplished. Not winning is just really disappointing at the end, but we fought hard. It was a very fun match, if you saw. And I just hope I leave here with a legacy that people remember, and hardworking. It was a really hardworking season.
Just playing her best volleyball in the last couple weeks here with playoffs. Couldn't ask for anything more from what she's been able to accomplish for us, but also leading the team, our most consistent player and a great leader on the court.
An outstanding student at River Bluff High School, Caroline Tucker has signed to play volleyball at Anderson University, where she will major in kinesiology with the career goal of becoming a physical therapist.
Time management is my most important skill and the one thing I focus on the most to have good grades.
One of the most decorated athletes in the history of River Bluff High School, Caroline Tucker has set a high standard both on and off the court, and that's why she is a News 19 Player of the Week.
It is very exciting and just makes me feel good to be recognized in both the school and on the court as well.
Well, high school basketball just around the corner. Brooklyn Casey High School, the South Carolina Basketball Coaches Association, holding a media day for teams from around the state. And among the teams that were there making the short drive, the Hornets of C.A. Johnson High School in the preseason ranking, CAJ first in Class A, and they'll be a part of December's Bojangles Bash, where on opening day, Thursday, December the 11th, they will face the host school and two-time 5A Division I state champion Ridgeview at 2 o'clock. Yeah, that's a 2 o'clock tip-off right in the middle of the afternoon. A little basketball action in the afternoon, a little matinee. First game of the Bojangles Bash, CAJ and Ridgeview.
Man, it's exciting for the kids. It's exciting for both communities, man. Great opportunity for the boy. Coach Staley, great guy. It's an honor to be able to coach against him.
Yeah, man, it's great for some of the top teams in the country come every year. We're playing two top 25 teams back-to-back on a Friday and Saturday, and we're playing a really good C.A. Johnson team who is on one of the top teams in the state on that Thursday. So it's going to really test our limits and see who we are.
All right, so looking forward to some high school basketball. The Bojangles Bash, December the 11th coming up. I'll be looking at, expecting a packed house at Ridgeview High School as some high-level talent will be on display. Hey, stay with us. More Sports Extra coming up right after this. All right, back here on Sports Extra on WLTX Plus, joined now by Hale McGranahan from thebigspur.com. Hard to believe, 2 games left in the season. Seems like it's, just yesterday we were starting preseason practice, and some days it seems like the season's taken 20 years to complete.
Yeah, it's flown by, and I wouldn't say it's been a good time that we've seen a 3-7 season take place, but yeah, it's hard to believe that we're just in August in Atlanta. Seems like yesterday.
The gauntlet, as I refer to it as, the 5-game stretch where you had 5 ranked opponents. If somebody before the season said, hey, you lose to Texas A&M at College Station by 31-30, oh, okay, they probably put up a pretty good fight, but just the way it happened, it's really indescribable how gut-wrenching that was for a lot of people.
Yeah, unless you're a Falcons fan and think that any 27-point lead is one that you can lose, and then yeah, I think most people would have been. I don't want to say satisfied with the 1-point loss in College Station, but
they could have accepted it. They could have tolerated it.
Yeah, he could have dealt with it a little bit better.
Well, the Falcons, you mentioned the Falcons. Brad Nessler and Chinnis Berry, two Falcon fans that I know, are probably not feeling too good right now, although they do have other concerns, especially Coach Berry trying to win a MEAC title this week with SC State up at Delaware. All right, so you got Coastal this week, Clemson next week. Shane said it, and even he didn't care if anybody heard it, but he said the attitude remains good. They're practicing hard. What do you expect out of Saturday and next week? Do you expect more so this week than next week? Because next week I figure it won't take a whole lot of motivation. But what do you think we'll see out of this week's effort against Coastal?
Well, I would think they're going to bounce back and play well and take care of business like they should against a team like Coastal. But if they don't, then that's probably not going to be a good sign moving into the Clemson game. So my thought is just given how we've seen Carolina play over these last 5 seasons, they typically don't let tough games like that beat them again, or at least hang around as like a hangover type of deal. So I would think that they're going to come out and play well and take care of business on Saturday as expected. But I also kind of thought that would have been the case in that South Carolina State game, and that proved to be wrong on my part.
All right, so if the offense scores 40 points against Coastal and 40 against Clemson, does Mike Furry get the OC job?
Well, I don't know. Assuming they win both of those games, maybe that's a.
If they don't win those both, if they score 40 and lose, then
Right.
But yeah, what's your gut feeling about the OC job?
I said beforehand, I think I said it last week, that they need to win the next 3 games with him calling plays for that to be a reality. So obviously that won't be the case. So not that I had anyone tell me that was Beamer's line of thinking. It was just something that I cooked up on my own. So
in the lab?
Yeah, in the lab, aka my guest room where I have a desk at my house. So I don't know. I mean, we saw a pretty good half last week against A&M, but a half that wasn't so good to follow
Crazy
that
how
up.
you can go from that to that.
Unbelievable. I mean, the old cliche, a tale of two halves. I've never been more true than that day.
That is a game that will be talked about for years and years. All right, so next week we have Thanksgiving. Are you a ham person, a turkey person, a barbecue person, or something out of those 3 categories?
Well, I've never had barbecue on Thanksgiving, but I do like barbecue. I love barbecue. Prefer ham to turkey.
Me too.
But I do like turkey.
Turkey tends to, if you don't cook it right, it can be kind of dry.
Oh, for sure. But
like Eddie Fogler humor dry.
Well, I don't know anything about the Eddie Fogler humor, but as far as Thanksgiving food, give me all the sides that you can put on a plate. I'm a real big sides guy.
That works as well. All right, well, Thanksgiving Day, a lot of football going on, and back in the day, I can remember, it wasn't that long ago when Thanksgiving Day, the season would have been done.
Yeah.
We used to play the Carolina Clemson game the prior to, but then, of course, money gets involved, big TV contracts, and we're playing 12 games.
Right. And
may not be done expanding.
And we might be talking about this game being on a Friday here in a couple of years, too.
That would not be bad. I don't think I'd like that. High school football, got too much going on.
Yeah, that's true.
But you know what, though? I have a feeling they will not be checking with me on my opinion.
That's a shame, because I think they owe it to you.
Just think how far this program could go. We'd have a NASCAR theme every week. That is for sure.
So
HendrickCars.com sponsoring the Zone. So that's a step. That's a small step, but a big step.
Is this your way of saying that you should be considered to be the next offensive coordinator at South Carolina?
I would not do that to Gamecock Nation.
Okay.
I like Shane. I wouldn't do that to him. I think. Could you imagine the reaction when I walked in and put on the hat and posing with Donati and Beamer and all that. That would be epic.
I would stand up and cheer. What?
And then you'd wake up in a cold sweat. All right. All right. Well, thank you for being here throughout this year. We'll be checking in next week. Obviously, the Clemson game speaks for itself, and looking forward to that. Have a good Thanksgiving. Your Niners, Brock Purdy's back in the lineup, we think.
Yeah. He's 1-0 as a starter.
Yeah.
Well, I guess 1-0 since he's been back last week against the Cardinals, and
Well,
the Panthers next Monday.
Well, I was going to grab him up before my son grabbed him up as well. He's a shark, so in terms of fantasy football. All right, he is Hale McGranahan from thebigspur.com. Again, even though it's a holiday season, though, what are people can still read up on a lot of intel about the OC job and the previews for the various games.
Yeah, trying to cover that OC search as best we can. Obviously, recruiting's coming to an end with signing day here in 2 weeks. So, What does that look like for Carolina amidst all this, all the questions going around the program, and of course the games as well.
All right, Hale McGranahan from thebigspur.com. Thank you for joining us on Sports Extra. Have a good Thanksgiving, and we will see you next week here on WLTX Plus.